Hello, we do the thing. Inverted spheres. There you go. I don't have a ton different from last time. I added the just like some polishing, and I kind of I moved this project into URP, so that's why all the colors all look different. And I just did some tweaking on the jumping and stuff like that, just to make stuff feel a little bit better. But there's still a lot of jank with it. And then I also added the wall running animation that is also very jank, and it only works in one direction, and it's also happens like when you just run at a wall. Like there's a bunch of problems with it, but you know, baby steps. But yeah, beyond that, I think the project should be mostly the same. We're just gonna pick back up with the orbital gravity stuff, continue that. Actually, in that case, I should turn back on all the sphere gravity ones. Yeah, did you want to show your sword on there or anything?
That's okay. It's more just a test dummy thing for once I get it working. I guess I could have just done a long cube or something.
Yeah, I know what you mean though, yeah. Okay, so let me make sure this still works as I'm thinking it should. So I get pulled into this gravity, rotation. I could jump between them. There you go. I noticed another weird problem. I mean, I guess I've just been taking notes on all that, but if I keyframe the gravity plane to change without my character moving, she just like stays at the same rotation no matter what, which is like really janky. It's not supposed to behave that way. So I need to do something for that, but whatever. Just another thing on the long list of known issues. But yeah, complex gravity. We're just about to move on to inverted spheres, which we can kind of already do with our current form.
Yeah, I think this is just an if statement.
Yeah, so it seems like he's doing a way to like polish it a little bit more. But I mean, we could already just make the thing really small and then make it negative gravity, and then it's pushing you
Well,
away from this center ball thing.
I think we have a check to stop that, don't we? Or did you get past it?
That's how I did it. I mean, I didn't even do anything
Oh.
special.
Well, we're adding two more.
Make it a little smarter.
What is this one on?
This is gravity sphere.
Yeah.
Okay, we can also support inverted gravity spheres. Simply negating gravity is not enough, because we might want a gravity dead zone in the center of the sphere. This is an area where the sphere's gravity cancels itself out, which may be true for both normal and inverted planets. It also makes it possible to put another gravity source inside that isn't affected by the larger source. Add a configurable inner fall-off radius and inner radius to make this possible. Let's again visualize them with cyan and yellow, but only if they are greater than 0. Okay, so that makes a little more sense why you would need the little extra bit we're doing here. So now we have, I mean, are we going to have a double stacked then? Like there's 2 yellow spheres for outer radius and inner radius?
I think you only do it if it's specifically for
Oh, if the
like
gravity's
first.
negative?
Well, I mean, the first if is just if the fall off radius is greater than 0 and less than the inner radius. Then it does it, which I guess it does by default.
Well, that's just the check if they're the same size. They just don't even draw the blue one, right?
Is that what it is? Inner fall off radius is positive and less than the inner radius. Oh yeah, and then it just doesn't. Right, right. that if inner radius is positive and less than the outer radius, draw. What is that second one doing? Is that what we didn't already have that?
Oh, the second if?
Yeah, is that just drawing the inner radius? Yeah.
If inner radius is greater than 0 and inner radius is less than the outer radius. So yeah, it's the same thing. It'll just draw it if it's not equal to the other one, essentially. Because if they're the same thing, you don't need to draw two different gizmos, I guess.
The inner fall off radius has a minimum of 0. It sets the minimum for the inner radius, which in turn sets the minimum for the outer radius. Oh, okay. I get that. It's like it's this chain of, you'd see him like moving down. Inner fall off radius gets compared to inner radius, and then inner radius to outer radius, and then outer radius to fall off radius.
Oh, so you do have multiple... Or wait, does he just have multiple gravity sources? But still, I think even within that... Are you drawing two yellow things now? Or is it just the one yellow still? Then it's dependent on which way the gravity is going.
I think I think these both can be true, both these spheres. Inner radius is less than outer radius. Yeah. I think there should be 4 spheres now, right?
Okay. I was just trying to kind of understand this image that he shows. Slap that in invalidate.
I think I only see 1. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, there's 2 more. Cool.
Now we can abort get gravity also when the distance is less than the inner fall off radius. If not, we also have to check whether the distance falls inside the inner fall off region, and if so, scale gravity appropriately. Okay, so this is just the check as to if you are within this like no gravity zone in the center.
Yeah, I think is the idea that we can go inside of this and outside of it? He's like adding realistic internal gravity.
Well, if you look at the next picture, it kind of shows it.
Or no, it's not realistic.
The one that
Oh,
he shows,
yeah.
it has the like double bubble planets.
Yeah, it's like an atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
you could run on the outside of this sphere and then jump and then run on the outside or the inside
Yeah.
of the other sphere, which is like crazy. Else, if distance greater than outer radius. Okay, so what we added there was if distance is greater than the outer fall off radius or distance is less than the inner fall off radius, then it's 0. If distance is less than the inner radius, then do the diminishing return based on how far you are from that radius, right? That's what's determining if it's like how powerful the gravitational force is based on how far away you are from it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I should be able to do the double bubble. Oh yeah, it definitely... Okay, it draws another extra sphere for the inner radius now. I get it. It's kind of confusing, but I guess I'll flip normals on this one, and then I'll plop this one inside of the flip normals one. Scale it down a little bit. So, I guess first of all I should probably hide this gravity source. So we should have it be this is confusing trying to set this up. So the outermost sphere should be negative gravity, and then the innermost sphere should be a separate gravity sphere that has positive gravity. Is that what he's doing?
No, I think it's one.
Well, he has 3 yellow rings in his picture. We only have 2 per gravity plane, right?
Yeah.
Like, I guess what is the attractive force to the center sphere then, I guess? I'm having a hard time understanding where that's coming from.
Isn't that just the positive gravity?
But it's only one. If it's only one object, it's only one gravity. Like, it's got to be positive or negative.
And then it's probably 2.
So the outermost one should have the inner radius be the same size as the inner planet, I suppose. So that way you're not affecting that one's gravity at all.
Yeah.
And then the inner fall off radius should also be about the same size, I suppose. I don't know. I guess I could, whatever. Doesn't really need to be. And then the outer radius should be the rim of the upside down planet, roughly. And that should be negative gravity. So now what should be happening is on the inside of the planet, I'm getting pushed away to the inside of the planet, but only if I'm not within that like inner core. And then if I go to the inner core, I should go 0 Gs.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's try to test that. Let's see if I understand that properly.
I don't know if it is.
This part's at least working.
Picture. Oh, good.
I think I am still missing the part where I have to add the attractive force to the inner sphere. I don't have that yet. But I want to at least get this part working. But I guess I can't really check that. Well, I could just drag my character into there, I suppose. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, wait. No. I guess it kind of worked. I just have like a little bit of a gravitational pull still. There's definitely a drop-off, though. Maybe I should make the drop-off a little bit more.
What is the big blue thing around the whole thing? I feel like his picture didn't have an outer blue ring.
That's a good point. Yeah, what would it be in this context?
I think they're the same. On his picture, they match the same. I think they're supposed to be really close.
You mean the inner fall-off radius and the outer fall-off radius? Or the outer fall-off radius?
Which one is the bottom? Which one is the source?
What do you mean?
Which one is the source of the gravity and which one is the radius of the gravity?
Oh, the outermost one is the source of the gravity. Oh, the yellow?
Yeah, like
yellow,
colors,
you mean?
colors. Which one is
yellow's the source, blue is the drop-off.
Okay. So yeah, you would have source surrounding... You'd have the source that's attracting the outside ball. You'd have the yellow around that. And then the blue is like right where you'd want to jump to switch over.
That was if it's normal gravity though, but if it's inverted gravity, like what is the
Put the
drop off do?
inner, then you put the inner fall off, I think, at that. If you look at his picture, it looks like the inner fall off of the bigger sphere is just a
So I
little
should
bit
just make the
outside
outer
of
fall off the same as the outer radius then. Like that's like irrelevant, huh?
the I don't know. I guess so.
So the inner radius is the point at which the outside gravity source stops being relevant, and then the fall off radius is how obscure or whatever, I guess. What's the word? How harsh of a drop off that is, I suppose.
Yeah, I think
So I feel like it should just be 100%. Like I don't know why I would even want the fall off. I guess whatever. Okay, so now I add a duplicate of this gravity source. Yeah, okay. But this one has positive gravity. And outer radius is the size of that small planet. And the inner radius, I guess, is just the same size as the outer radius.
inner radius or wait. Oh, I'm looking at the stream. Uh, which one is this for?
This is for the inside planet. You know, this
Okay.
is kind of an obvious thing I should have done. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no. Colors that are not used in the. Oh, god damn it! I did blue. Oh, yellow, green's not much better.
Do
Then they're not different enough.
green and then white.
Okay, yeah, that works. So I need to make the gravity source of the inner shell planet just be normal, basically. So the outer radius is the planet itself, and then the outer fall off radius is like a little bit bigger than that radius. And then the inside radius and the inside radius fall off are both like irrelevant, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm just going to put these both to 0 for now, I guess. The outer radius should be about the same size as the other one's inner radius. The outer fall off radius should be like half of it, I suppose. I don't know. Can I just leave those as 0? Do you think that's fine?
Huh?
It's not the same as his, though.
They're not gonna change because you're in play mode, but
Motherfuck. Why am I in play mode? Oh, I could do this, though. Copy component, and then I could just paste component values. Oh, didn't even save that I... Fuck. Whatever. And then paste component values. I gotta put this back too. Whoa. This is weird. Okay. So now I have to make sure. I think it undid like a bunch of the changes that I did. I should have saved the other one too. So the outer fall off radius should be equal to the outer radius. The outer radius should be about the planet. The inner radius should be about there. And then the inner fall off radius should be about equal to that as well. I think that's how I had it. The only thing that worries me is this looks different from his picture, but we'll see, I guess. I guess I can't jump high enough. Let me turn up our jump height.
maybe bring the radiuses out a little bit. They're like exactly the same.
Which ones?
The yellow ones around, like the ones that would pull you into the center.
Bring that down or bring it out?
Uh,
I guess I should bring this out.
yeah, the outer. Yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe just try and get the first bit. Just try and get the ball to
Oh,
work with
like
this
if I
new system.
isolate the outside ball, so it's
Yeah,
just the inner ball. That's a good way to look at it. Oh, okay.
it does work.
So it is working. I guess it's just a matter of getting the settings just right or something.
Yeah, understanding what pulls.
I just don't understand why he has 3 yellow rings. So now if I disable this one, I should be running just on the outside of the planet instead, basically. Yeah. So they both work independently of each other. But when I turn them both on...
I feel like maybe the radius is kind of far. The yellow radius on the inside ball.
um,
I, I feel like the outer radius should be like right on the edge of the ball, right? Oh wait, which one is which?
this one, like that.
Yeah, shouldn't it be?
Yeah, I just expanded it out a bit because I thought that would make it, uh, like more attractive. I don't know. And the outer fall off radius. My first thought was to make it like half of the distance between the two balls, but that didn't really
Oh,
pick it up, so I made it bigger.
I'm gonna look at his picture.
And I'll change the inner radius to match.
So he has, I think he's putting,
He has 3
he
yellows. That just doesn't make sense to me. So he has 3 different gravity spheres.
he has the inner, outer, and then, or no, yeah, there's inner that's really small in the middle, and then in or outer, right?
I still have my. Oh, that's true. Yeah. So if I, that's
And
why
then
you'd have
inner
3.
outer.
Yeah. So I have my inner. I just had it at 0 because I didn't think it was really relevant, but
I
I'll
think
bring it back up.
well, I think, yeah.
So
I
that's
think
why
the
there's
inner,
3. That makes sense.
yeah, it's hard to tell which one is which though.
Yeah, I got like right on there. What the fuck?
I think he puts the inner in the middle, outer on the outside, and then he puts the inner. Does he put the inner for the inverted one on the outside? Because
The
that would make
inner
sense
for
why it
the
would.
inverted one on the outside.
He puts the inverted sphere, he puts the inner one on the outside and the outside one on the inside. Because like invert or inside is like the source direction of the gravity. So if you're on the ball, it's always pointing out towards that outside ring. I'm gonna read it again.
I think I got it.
Oh, cool.
So I just made the inner radius for gravities, like the. I made the inner radius of the repulsive gravitational force bigger, like the internal drop off, like dead zone. I just made
Yeah.
that bigger.
Okay.
That seems to have done the trick. If only a
Cool.
little bit. Yeah, okay. So now we can go to gravity boxes, the finale of this tutorial, which I doubt we'll finish because it's a pretty big finale. But yeah, I don't understand this one at all.
Which one?
Gravity boxes.
Gravity boxes?
Like, I don't know what
Oh.
we're doing. We end this tutorial by returning to the gravity box scene. Instead of using 6 planes to make it possible to walk on the inside of the box, we'll create a single box-shaped gravity source. Okay.
So new gravity source.
So now we're doing another script. And we'll call it just gravity box.
Okay, so we make a gravity, we make a boundary distance, so this is, yeah, this is a perfect box. The way he has it set up so far. Or it's like a perfect cube.
Equal lengths, yeah.
Because he's defining the boundary distance by one vector. So on awake, we do on validate, which sets our boundary distance.
I'm gonna make a new scene real quick. Not a new scene, I guess, just a new thing for testing this.
Oh, yeah. So we'll again define an inner area where gravity is at full strength. The inner area is where gravity is at full strength, plus an area inside that where it decreases to 0. And then inside that, an area without gravity. This time, radii don't make sense, so we'll define them as inner distances inward relative to the boundary. These distances are the same for all 3 dimensions, so we can suffice with 2 configurable values, inner distance and inner falloff distance. Cool.
So I have the box set up.
Nice.
Oh, I gotta actually add the script to it. Oh, so you can change the boundary distance to be like not a perfect square, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
This is a bit annoying. God damn
Oh
it.
yeah, that was a dumb thing for me to think because it's a vector 3. So it's
Oh yeah, I
vector
guess
3
so.
and then just one in every. Yeah.
This is frustrating. I don't know. I don't think I can do this because it's forming the sphere around, like, you know, Pro Builder's objects origins are fucking dumb. Can I do like set origin to center or something like that? I
I'm not
doubt it.
sure.
Yeah, because it's forming the sphere around like the corner here, so I can't make it just like cover the box perfectly. And if I scale the box, I guess I should try. But I think if I scale the box, it's also gonna move. Oh no, okay, I'll do that then.
Oh right. Yeah.
Bit of a low tech fix, but whatever.
Well, Pro Builder is causing the problem, so you should probably use Pro Builder to fix it. I think
Yeah.
it's a good idea.
All right, cool. Well, now I fit within that red outline. Oh, he did 10. I did 30. Whatever. I guess it doesn't really matter. But I went a little big. Okay, and you read this bit already about the why we don't need to worry about like a radius and everything because it's a box.
Yeah.
Another serialized field, inner distance and inner fall off distance. And then this is the same. Wait, the maximum for both inner distances is equal to the smallest boundary distance. Besides that, the inner fall off distance must be as big as the inner distance. So this is just the same check as before, where if you make the inner radius bigger than the outer radius, it like stops it.
Yeah. The inner fall off distance must be at least as big as the inner distance.
Both distances can be visualized with wireframe cubes. Their size equal to the boundary distance minus the relevant distance doubled. So again, just more Gizmo's code. Oh, there it is. Okay. So there's the inner distance and then the inner fall off distance. Which none of this does anything currently, but still. Fall off. Calculating the gravity fall off for a box is a bit more complex than for a sphere, but we can once again use a single inner fall off factor. I wonder what's going to be different about that. Like, is there anything that jumps out to you immediately about from like, you know, like trig or whatever about that?
Just because if it was a circle, you would interact with like the corners you'd like sit in the corner, like with your feet in the corner, if that makes sense. Like if you had a circle, your feet would be pointed towards the corner, but in this situation, it would be pointed just like straight to the ground.
Okay, so it's just making it like a snap to one angle or the other, kind of.
That's what it seems like.
It's easiest to first consider a single gravity component, which is similar to a plane. Create a get gravity component method for that with two parameters. The first is the relevant position coordinate relative to the box's center. The second is the distance to the nearest face along the relevant axis. It returns the gravity component along the same axis. So yeah, that it checks what plane you're standing on and then returns gravity as relative to that plane.
Yeah, I guess so. So I don't know what we use this coordinate for. The relevant position coordinate relative to the box's center.
What up, Sensei? It's going pretty good. We're just working on box gravity now. So we're trying to make it so that we could like walk along this wall and then it goes bop and we just walk up that wall, and it kind of just snaps between them. So that's the code we're working through right now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't totally get the coordinate other than
Well, the first is the relevant position coordinate relative to the box's center.
yeah.
The second is the distance to the nearest face along the relevant axis. So, coordinate is just where you are relative to the center of the box, I guess.
Yeah, it's just that it's a float. So it's one number.
Yeah, how does that make sense?
I mean, we don't use it except for
Well, not
return. Oh, we return. We use it to decide if gravity is positive or negative.
If the distance is greater than the inner fall-off distance, then we're in the null gravity zone, so the result is 0. Otherwise, we have to check whether we have to reduce gravity, exactly like we did for the sphere. The only extra step is that we have to flip gravity if the coordinate is less than 0, because that means we're on the opposite side of the center. So does that mean if you go on the outside of the box, it'll pull you in?
I see. It's just testing. Oh, I don't know actually about that. The next section is about being outside the box. But I get coordinate is X or Y or Z, and he's testing if it's positive or negative to say what face we're on.
Okay. So if distance in this case is how far we are from the next plane? Was that what he said? Second is the distance to the nearest face along the relevant axis. So just the ground?
Yeah. This is get gravity component. I didn't put that together. I thought we were writing the get gravity for it.
Yeah, so this is deciding which gravity component is going to be like activated, I guess.
I think the component is the XYZ. I think that's what it's talking about.
Okay.
So it's like building the gravity out of the 3. Well, let me see where we use this. Get gravity component. Yeah, here. Vector x equals get gravity component position.x distances.x. And then we do it for all the other ones, like else ifs. Okay, so it's kind of just like it's just like gravity. We just have 6 conditions basically, and we're combining them into positive and negative, so we really only have 3 conditions that we just do positive or negative on.
How does this handle rigid bodies, I wonder? Because gravity wouldn't shift. I guess would all gravity shift with you when you walk up the wall? Like all the rigid bodies would fall against that wall now.
No, I think the rigid bodies are undergoing this too.
Oh, it just whatever they're nearest to. That makes sense. Okay. I thought for some reason I thought you put this on the player, but you put it on rigid bodies as well.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I don't remember.
Oh wait, no, you don't put this on the rigid bodies because this is gravity box, right?
Yeah, this is just a source. You just put this. You put this on the box.
Hmm. So I guess maybe we don't have the logic set up to like assign distance and coordinate anything. Like maybe they're just like empty values right now.
Distance. We do get position, input position. Yeah, I never even considered uh, how it's changing per rigid body.
Okay, well let's just continue on and see if we get it a little more. Um, the get gravity method then has to make the position relative to the box's position and start with a zero vector. Then calculate the absolute distances from the center, invoke get gravity component for the smallest distance, and assign the result to the appropriate component of the vector. The result is gravity that pulls straight down relative to the nearest face or pushes toward it in the case of negative gravity.
Yeah, so it's not based on your position. It's like all these different. It's getting a bunch of different positions and then saying like if you're closer to one position or the other, then that's what you have gravity. That's the gravity you have, I guess. Or it's like it's setting up like generic bounds for gravity instead of like getting your player position. It's just like setting a position, right?
Well, then we're still going to have to move within that. I don't know. This looks like a complex little chunk right here. Okay.
Yeah.
The new override get gravity. Position equals position minus transform position. So position is just the difference between the current position and the next position or something like that. Like what is transform dot position?
That's the input position, right?
So that'd be the
Or oh
position of
no,
like the
no.
rigid
It's
body or
the
something.
no, it's the middle of the box. It's the source of the box.
Okay.
So input position is equal to itself minus the source, so that like that's the well, I don't know actually. I don't know what that does. Transform position. So we say that our position is equal to the difference. Oh, yeah, okay. We say that our position is equal to the difference of what our position was at the start and the middle. So we're just writing our position as the difference. Like we're making it relative to the
The
center.
center.
Yeah. And then we define a zero vector and a vector 3 for distances. And those are boundary distance x minus math x. So absolute value of position x. Boundary
What is
distance
boundary
x.
distance?
Distances. Boundary distance is the edge of the box in each direction.
Okay.
What we defined at the beginning. So the distances are that boundary distance, so the very edge minus. Oh. Okay, so we have our position, but then we make it relative to the center by just saying it is. We just get our new position value is the difference between it. So there's like, I'll draw. There's like the center of the box, whatever. And then there's like the edge of the box. And then our position is like inside the box. And then like that's our boundary. So we have this, and then with distances, we're solving for this little bit, the distance away from the boundary.
Is that on each face?
Yeah.
It's just on whatever like the relevant face is that gravity's currently on?
No, it does it for X, Y, and Z. And then I don't know if we, I guess by subtracting you can do it both ways. Because you subtract an absolute value, so when it's positive it just is smaller, and then when it's negative, I don't know, actually that doesn't make sense to me. If distance x is less than distance y, and then if distance x is less than z, so that distance is the distance to the wall, so it's saying it's furthest away from the center in the x direction if distance is x is less than y and z. Does that make sense?
So if you're furthest from the x-axis, then the x-axis becomes your gravity source?
Well, it's kind of confusing because distances is this distance here.
It's the distance from you to the active plane?
Boundary. To the boundary, yeah. I guess, yeah, to the plane that you're going to land on. And so if this distance is smaller than this distance in the y and this in the z, then this is your closest plane.
Okay.
And
that part makes the most sense to me out of everything so far.
Yeah. That's when we do get gravity component with position x and distances x, which is our coordinate and the distance. Okay.
Okay. And then finally, to support cubes with an arbitrary rotation, we have to rotate the relative position to align with the cube. We do that by passing it through inverse transform direction of its transformation, which ignores its scale. The final gravity vector must be rotated the opposite way via transform direction. So first, let me just look at that, actually. Does that mean if I rotate this, the yellow and blue will just stay? Yeah, okay, they'll stay stationary. Oh, not if I rotate the whole object. Why are we doing this then?
What do you mean? What's the problem?
Well, we said we have to do something specific to make it work with like arbitrary rotations. But like it's already parented to the rotation, right? Like
Well, no, because the distance between the x, y, and z is like different when you rotate it from the center, because you're just getting like the y distance from the center to the boundary. So if you turn it, it's like the y-axis would line up like a corner.
Oh, so they rotate the relative position to align with the cube. I was thinking of they were just rotating the box to like match it. I guess that makes more sense. So this replaces our old position thing. And then this replaces our return. The result of this approach is that gravity suddenly changes orientation when the nearest face changes. This works fine when floating inside the box, but it makes traveling between faces on its inside difficult. Okay, so I guess I should playtest that. And also test how it affects rigid bodies, because right now I don't fully get if it's going to work on rigid bodies properly or not. I think I fucked something up. She's like rotating to be like away from... Do I have it on inverse gravity or something? Is it supposed to be on inverse gravity? Is that the problem? Oh, it is. Okay. That was the problem.
Makes sense.
Okay, so now if I push a rigid body, it should get just pulled. Again, like this bike should just stick to the wall, essentially. It should get pulled by that gravitation. Yep. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, seems like it's working as intended. Except for the fact that you can't just kind of like run at it. Yeah, if you run right, holy shit. He's gonna address that like immediately though, it looks like. Yeah, this is a pretty neat little setting. This is just like I said this like every time we finish one of these gravity things, but this is just a whole ass mechanic.
Yeah, it is. You could just do a whole game from here.
Like this would be a sick game jam game or something like that, just like the box game. The whole game you're inside the box. And you're like, oh, I gotta get that key up there. Oh god. So you gotta like unblock the path all the way around. There's like a maze on the roof that you're gonna have to go through, so you gotta try to like memorize it and then like run around.
Do it upside down.
And then but the memorization you did was upside down. So now when you're back on this gravity, it's all like flipped and you gotta go back and be like, wait, which way was it from the fountain? That's kind of fun. Okay. Outside the box. Okay, so we have 4.4 and 4.5. There's not really any actual structure to that whole thing. The numbering, like, is it 5 subsections per chapter, or is it just however many subsections are relevant?
It seems like it's a level of detail. It's like you do a certain amount, and then once you get to a significantly higher level of detail, you move up.
Yeah. Okay. Like for the sphere, we'll also support an outer distance and an outer fall-off distance, along with an outer fall-off factor. So we're doing the same thing again, just making it so you can make it pull in from the outside as well, and then you could just walk around the outside of a box. Inside the box, gravity must change suddenly, but on the outside it gets fuzzier. Suppose that we are moving on the outside of the box, being pulled toward it. If we move past the edge of a face, gravity should instead pull us down, but if we keep aligning it with the nearest edge, then we would fall past the box instead of toward it. This suggests that we should fall toward the nearest edge or corner if we're not directly above a face. Also, distance should be determined relative to that edge or face, so we end up with areas in the shape of rounded cubes. There is no convenient way to visualize rounded cubes with gizmos, so let's create a simple approximation. Begin by adding a method that draws a closed loop through 4 points, which we'll use to draw a rectangle. What the fuck? So he's making it so the outside of the box is treated as if it has rounded edges when you're running along it?
Yeah, but I think he's just doing that with the fall off. Actually, no. I don't know.
Well, first off, it's just a gizmos, I guess, for a while, and then he moves on to... Next, create a method to draw an outer cube given a distance. Give it 4 vector variables and set them up so that we draw a square for the right face at the appropriate distance. I wonder if you could set up a thing to make it like... Well, I guess this wouldn't really work because rigid bodies. But I was curious if you could set up a thing where it like updates to show what the current active plane is for gravity, I suppose. But they would just all be lighting up constantly because like random shit would get sucked into them.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe just you could just have like an object or something that points in the direction of gravity, like that's floating above your head or something.
Oh yeah, like gravity for you.
Yeah. I gotta catch up a little bit.
What the fuck? Oh. Oh, I know. Like imagine if there's like a button on the roof and you gotta throw a box up so that it sticks in and then pushes up the button. That's good. Wants a seizure. God, I want to set up a gravity gun so bad, so I could just like grab props and just blast them around. I feel like I should just copy someone else's script for that, just for the sake of like killing time like this.
Okay, where are you at now?
I'm on negate the x coordinates of the points so that we can draw the left face. Right after we're still drawing the gizmos for the outer
Okay,
fall
yeah.
off radius.
I'm caught up.
Negate the x coordinates of the points so we draw the left face. Repeat this process for the other 4 faces.
We draw AX, BX, CX, DX, and AX. And negative AX.
Yeah, the gizmo shit is mostly, I've been not catching a lot of that.
Well, we're just saying that the each one of those is points, so we're saying the x coordinates of the points are all the same on one side. Yeah, I feel like I get it, but I don't want to expend a lot of mental energy on it.
Okay, this is helpful. Being able to actually see it now. So I guess that's why it was getting weird like that, is because it's drawing one of these gizmos for each face individually, but making them all controlled by the same radius. So I guess I'll just flip the normals back so I can run on the outside of it now. Whoa.
Yeah, I could see why he'd want to do the rounded edges.
It's still like pretty jank.
I think if you bring the fall off higher up,
Oh yeah.
or maybe bring the planes closer.
Like that?
Yeah. I don't know, actually. Yeah, there's nothing out there in the corner.
And I'll just make this really big. See what that feels like. Okay, now I'll try to make this really big. Yeah, it's effectively the same thing. Maybe it's because I'm running. I don't know. Yeah, if I walk.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's just because your acceleration is like maintained.
It still is like definitely a working mechanic, but
Yeah.
I expected to kind of just like bloop, bloop. Maybe I'm sure he'll address that. We'll see. I guess I should get some rigid bodies out here too. Oh whoa, they're doing a Katamari in here. This is kind of like magnets. I feel like you could do a magnet game with this too, and just like
Yeah.
have this weird gravity be under the guise of magnets. Magnet boots, and all the props are metal. And
I would be interested as well to try to do this physics thing, like where he just keeps implementing realistic physics and try and implement realistic magnetism.
well, what would be the difference?
There is a difference. You'd be surprised. There's a big difference.
I guess
They
like in
they
a real
look the
like
same.
physics sense, but I mean like
That's what I mean. Yeah.
in like an implementation sense, like would they really like I guess what would be the difference implementing magnetism versus gravity? Like I know like in physics, I'm sure.
Magnetism, the force of a magnet is determined by the change in its, uh, well, I I'm looking a step ahead. There's no way to explain this in a quick, but basically
Okay.
there's a measurement of change in front of a magnet that you can get, and like basically you don't get magnetic force unless the power or the I forget all the technical terms now, but like basically if the power of the magnet changes or if the position of the magnet relative to a thing changes. So basically, if you spawn two magnets next to each other and nothing changes, nothing would happen. In the real world, that's impossible because you have to move them together. But in a video game,
Huh.
like a lot of the technical problems
That's
that
a good
would never
example,
occur, yeah.
So if you put them on
That's
like an infinitely flat plane and just sat them
Yeah.
there, like there's no friction, there's no anything, like
Yeah, like the game actually, like, game magnetism would actually extrapolate a lot of the problems that we don't experience in the real world because they're only theoretical.
that's pretty
We're just like
interesting.
in a constant state of magnetism, like all the different waves interacting at once.
Well, I feel like we could finish up complex gravity right now, right? Like we're pretty
Yeah,
close.
let's just do it and then call it. I am.
Seems like the rest of this is just gizmos. Like I don't. What is
Yeah.
this?
Well,
Oh, well no, this looks a little. What the fuck is this? Oh, that's the square root of a third.
yeah.
Whatever. I'll just read this. This shows us the flat areas of the rounded outer cubes, but their rounded boundaries are not shown. We could create a very detailed visualization to show them, but that would require a lot of code. Let's instead suffice with a simple additional wireframe cube between the rounded corner points of the cube.
Oh, okay.
These points are at the provided distance from the boundary cubes, offset equally in all three dimensions. Thus, the distance that we need is equal to the boundary cubes plus the relevant distance scaled by square root of a third. So we're creating cubes along all the edges that
No,
represent the. Yeah.
We're
What?
adding one more cube that's in between.
Oh.
That's supposed to, like, the way he has it, I think is it's supposed to well, he has, it seems like he has two, so that is kind of confusing. But also it seems like the gravity floor is on the outside is like raised up a little bit.
I just
Maybe?
thought about that. I'm sorry. Hold on. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just
No,
went
it's
back
fine.
to the magnet thing. What if we tied the magnet, like a magnet sphere? What if we put that on a rigid body and then made another one and put that also on a rigid body? Like, do you think they would just like and like snap together like magnets would, or do you think like would it behave like that?
Well, the hard part is that, like, right now what we have is sphere and cube. So like I guess you'd have to, I don't know how you would attach it to a rigid body
Well, I just make a
and
rigid
make it.
body, then put the source, like put the script on it, right?
I guess that's true.
Like, what if
Yeah,
I
and it
just
just
took
wouldn't
this
be. You'd
barrel?
probably want to do spherical. 'Cause that's the only real gravity, I guess.
I'm just gonna do this. I'm just gonna give it like 30 seconds, real quick. I'm gonna take these two barrels, separate them, add gravity sphere to it, I suppose, to each of them. and put them within each other's radiuses. Oh, interesting. They're just getting pulled back to the box. Oh, where the
Oh,
fuck?
yeah.
Whoa! Where are they going? Wait, why are they not colliding with the box? Oh, I guess they're just missing it. Well, they are kind of... Yeah, they're kind of pulling to each other. It seems like they're kind of doing it, but they're just also being affected by the box.
Passing it. I think it was passing it.
I'm going to turn off all the other gravity planes. That's what I should have done in the first place. Let me just hide them real quick. Yeah, I thought that was clipping it, but you're right. It just missed it. Alright, so now that's the only gravity source. Hmm.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. And now they're just
you
gonna
can
fly
create whole
infinitely.
planets with that.
Yeah, that's how a planet would work. That's how you could do like a solar system. Like a whole solar
Yeah.
system sim. That's crazy. Okay. Detour finished. So now we're doing the box between the two planes. Draw Gizmo's outer cube. Damn, this shit ballooned quick. So I guess the idea is that the gravity is kind of like flat here, flat here, flat here, and it's creating like a pseudo round thing. It's kind of like the visualization of it. Is that the idea?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if this is a helpful visualization or not. I feel like I'm like more confused by this. I guess it
Yeah,
helps.
we didn't make it, so it's
Yeah.
like they're
I
not our
I didn't go like, oh, it would be nice to be able to see this.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is helpful. You could also draw lines along the middle of rounded edges using a distance scaled by the square root of a half in 2 dimensions, but our current approach should suffice.
Wait, where'd you go? Where are you?
Right at the start of detecting the sides.
Okay. Okay, so we just define the like outside line as 0, which is when the distance is, that would be like the, or wait, I don't know. Position x is greater than boundary distance x, then vector x is equal to the boundary distance x minus the position x, outside equals 1. So that's just that's really simple. That could be a Boolean, but it would probably get fucked up between.
I also wonder maybe he's going to expand it later.
Yeah.
So now we're checking inside of Get Gravity. Basically just checking whether you're on the outside or the inside of the box. Just some sunflower seeds. Those Jumbo Ranch, but not David Jumbo. David C's are okay, but Jumbo, these are the real shit.
I was never really a sunflower seeds guy.
I go through phases. I'll get urges.
I never did a sport.
I never really. I did them more when I was filming football, more than
That
when I
makes
was
sense.
actually playing it.
I associate it with baseball,
Yeah.
but like in band, you're not supposed to eat shit that you just keep in your mouth.
Just, oh god. The musical instruments would just be full of like little seed
already-
particles, and
Yeah, they're already full of spit.
just add food in there.
Ugh.
Yeah, that was like the thing that stuck with me the most about when I did like one thing of band, which is how fucking vile the instruments get.
Yeah.
I did not expect that.
I'm,
I mean, I
I'm
guess
not
I should
surprised
have.
that- Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's just metal.
But yeah, I don't know. It just never really
Yeah,
crossed
it's a
my
learning
mind.
thing.
But yeah, I did trombone 1 year and then hated it. But
Oh yeah, that's the spittiest of all.
yeah. But
But
Connor,
it's the
you
most
did like
important.
proper band. Like you did it for like longer, right?
Yeah, I did it all through high school. And I went to band camps.
If we're not beyond the right face, check if we're beyond the left face instead. If so, adjust the vector accordingly, this time subtracting the position from the negative boundary distance. So this is all still just checking if we're on the inside or the outside. Position.x is less than negative boundary distance.x.
Oh yeah, it's all the different sides that we're doing. Because we just did boundary distance dot x, but now we need to do negative x, y, negative y.
So we're doing the same thing again, just for the interfaces now, essentially.
Well, I think we're doing if else if else if. So it's only doing 3 of them.
That's another thing. This is another basic thing that I should have a very solid grasp on. Like what is the difference between having an if and then an if and then an if and an else if?
So you do it. It goes if, and then if that's not true, then it'll do the else. But then else if is, if the first if isn't true, then try else if only if position dot x. You know, if you were to just put else there, then you would go. And I'm looking at the right above where it says do the same for y and z faces. That little chunk, that first if, else if.
So if it was just 2 ifs, the second if would always run.
They'd both fire, yeah.
But if it's an else if, the second one only fires if the first one fails.
Yeah.
And then if it's just an else, then it's just the opposite of the first if essentially, or something like that.
No, so it's it tries the if. If it's not true, then it goes to else. Then if you just had else, then it would just run what you write after else.
Oh,
So
okay.
If something and then else, do this. And then else if is just that, but with an extra check. Else if the other thing isn't true, then it won't do that either.
Okay.
It'll just skip it.
I understand.
And then after that, it'll close out basically that little if chunk and go to the next if statement.
I had a really bad computer science teacher, so a lot of those questions did not get good answers.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to get like basic foundational questions from some people.
I still don't
who
understand
it
for
at
and
a high
while
level.
loops.
Really?
For and while loop, like the difference between a for loop and a while loop is still kind of like
Yeah,
I can
well-
look at them and be like, yeah, they're different, but like the use cases don't make sense to me. Like why would I use one or the other? Like they seem like they cover very similar ground in my head.
Yeah, I think it has to do with we're in a kind of specific coding scenario where we're trying to do a thing every frame. Whereas a lot of times you might write just like static, UI or something.
Yeah.
Not even UI. The stuff that I used while loops the most in was robot stuff. Because you'd get like while this sensor is on, then do this, but then while this sensor is on, do this, and then it could do both of them at the same time. I think was the idea. But whenever you write robots, you just write while one is your start. I guess probably not always, but when we did it, but that was like on the little boards we used. You just write while one, and that's the same as doing an iterative loop. Because one is true.
After that's done, check whether we're outside at least one face. If so, the distance to the boundary is equal to the length of the adjusted vector. We can then use the same approach that we used for outside the sphere. Otherwise, we have to determine gravity for the inside. So if you're past the point where you're considered outside the box, use this form of gravity, else use the other form of gravity, I guess.
Yeah. But really, they're just saying, if it's further away from the center in one direction than the other, choose that direction, I guess. Like in the X direction, if the X is greater than the boundary distance, but then X is or fuck it. Yeah, you understand. I'm basically just saying what you were gonna say.
Okay.
I need to copy paste a little bit.
Yeah, I'm trying to get this thing wrapped up here. God, I hate this question mark notation, man. It's so like unreadable to me. It's still
Yeah.
like I have to like convert it to an if, and I still don't fully understand how to convert it. With this approach, gravity once again smoothly changes along edges and corners if we make the boundary box smaller than the surface box. Gravity also no longer becomes stronger in those areas. You do have to make sure that the outer distance is sufficient to reach all the way to the corners. Alright, let's try that out.
Oh.
She's still getting a little stuck.
Are the normals flipped?
Oh, whoops. I gotta flip them back. I feel like this is exactly the same.
I think the point was that you could go inside of it, maybe.
Couldn't we? We could already do that by just flipping gravity.
Yeah, maybe if there's a hole in it or something. I don't know. It seems like his test case
He
or
like
his
obviously
example.
changed something. Yeah.
His example seems to be. I mean, it was all Gizmo stuff except for.
I think this might be the biggest change actually. So you like kind of rotate around
Yeah.
it a little bit.
Well,
I feel
that's
like
the rounded.
yeah. I think I like before I snapped more.
Well, the thing that he uses to show off this part is that he can uh jump between boxes, which I don't think we could do before. Maybe we could have.
What do you mean like two box planets?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't think we could. I don't know. He did recommend doubling the gravity though too, to make it like stick you a little bit more to the surface. So I'll try that.
That makes sense.
That's better. I mean, like I said, this is still like a very functional mechanic. Like even with the kind of like flinging over the edge thing.
Yeah.
It would be nice. I wonder if we made snapping like really aggressive. Like you make your max snap angle really high.
Maybe.
Oh, hey. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna suggest that, but I thought maybe it wouldn't go over 90.
Yeah, it goes to 100, I think. Which is weird because this isn't. Whatever.
Well, the angle is 90 though, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I confused myself for a second. That's why I stopped.
Oh, okay.
So I was thinking, like, wouldn't that be like 270 degrees or whatever? Because it was like 360 minus 90.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused by that negative angle thing, but I'm pretty sure the snapping tutorial took care of that.
Now, actually, let's see. Flip the normals, and then I flip gravity. Can I now just walk on the inside of the sphere and kind of snap cleanly? Whoa! Send me flying.
On play mode.
I want to stay in play mode though.
Oh, okay.
God damn it. Get in the box. Get in the fucking box. This is too hard. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. Oh, hey. Okay, that's actually very convenient. Alright, get in the box. No, get in the fucking box. No. What? She was in it, wasn't she? Damn it. Why is she just flying through it now? Damn. Alright, whatever. So what did I change in that mode? The snapping angle. Flip the normals. Oh, wait. The normals like aren't flipping. That's probably went wrong.
Yeah, it kind of looked like it.
Just not doing it. The fuck? Okay, there we go. Now I inverse gravity. And I increase my max snap speed. I'll do the ground angle too, because I don't remember which one specifically affects that. I don't know if that's going to affect walking straight up a wall, though. Yeah, no. That's still pretty jank. I mean, if I look up...
Yeah.
But if I look straight into the corner... Oh, I'm doing the jump. Like if I don't press jump, she just kind of. She can just kind of walk up it though. She does it.
I think it's because of that capsule collider. When you're like running right in front of it, the faces are like perfectly parallel with the wall. The like front faces. But then if you like look up, the ball is what interacts with the like the round bottom is what interacts with the corner.
I could see that. Yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, when I look, oh no, wait, no, because when I look up, the capsule doesn't rotate with my camera.
Yeah, but doesn't your camera control how you turn a little bit?
Yeah, but not up and down, does it?
I think it could.
Maybe it does. I mean, I guess clearly it does, because otherwise this wouldn't happen. All the
Yeah,
only
I
thing
mean,
that's changing is the camera.
Because like when I'm in zero gravity, I can like change my direction
Oh
a
yeah,
little
you could
bit.
like swim, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's probably what it is then. Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. All right. Well, it seems like this is that's a wrap. Yeah, that's the end of that
Yeah.
tutorial.
Nice.
Next, we're on to moving the ground, which is it's exciting to me because it doesn't sound exciting, and I'm like wondering how the fuck is he gonna make this a whole tutorial. Like the complex gravity one, that was like obvious as hell to me. Like, yeah, this is gonna be a while. But moving the ground, like, come on, I could literally do that in 2 seconds. Look, I grab this platform, and I go animation, create an animation, keyframe, stay there. Yeah, so first you go there, and then you go there, and then you go back, and then when I play, I go into scene mode. Look at that. I figured the whole thing out. But he's a big brain guy, so he's gonna do some crazy shit that like blows this method out of the water, I'm sure. So it's just like exciting, because that's platforming, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so join us tomorrow when we wrap this. Well, not wrap. We're gonna start a new thing. We have now wrapped up complex gravity. So big thanks to Catlikecoding. This dude's a genius, and his tutorials are very, very nice to read. Damn, we're making. Are we halfway?
Yeah.
I guess yeah. That was the halfway point. Was
Yeah.
complex gravity.
Nice.
Cool, cool. All right, so yeah. Thanks for watching.
See you
Goodbye.
tomorrow.